Good evening.
Hello.
We start on this end, please, and if you would like to tell me your name, about yourself, and your role in the film that we just watched.
My name is Mark, and I wrote with Rich Beach Portal, and I also produced and directed it along with Kane, and somewhere the actor Nick Pearce is somewhere over there.
My name's Luke, and I made How Not to Survive a Horror Movie.
Hi, my name's Jacob. I'm credited as Snick Jacobs, and I was the director of Grasshopper Part 3.
I'm Harry Main. I wrote and directed the Football Hooligan film, and we've got our DOP and first AD in the audience as well.
My name's Matt, and I wrote and directed Ron.
So Matt, I'll start with you. Comedy writing's difficult, right?
Yes.
And having faith in your comedy writing from first draft through to rehearsal, through to final shoot. How much of the timing specifically, but also how the way the jokes land, is in that first draft versus what we see?
Well, the good thing about how we came up with Ron was that Dom's at the back there, who's in the film, and Becky, who is the actor in the film as well. We've worked quite tirelessly from draft one through to shooting, which is quite lucky really, because I know both of them very well. So it was quite collaborative in terms of the way that we put the thing together. So I think kind of the relationship we had and the relationship the characters had was kind of in from the beginning. I don't know how many of those jokes landed from the first draft to the end, but it felt like from going through the drafts that we put together, the story was there, and it needed the lightness to have the darkness at the end. So I think a lot of the, I don't know if they're jokes, but kind of a lot of the humour of it was from the beginning. I can't really remember specifically if they were in the first draft and then in that last, in the shoot, but it was definitely, the humour was there from the beginning, and it felt like it was the same humour from the first draft to the shoot. I don't know if that answers the question at all. Sorry.
It's a good answer to it. Sorry, I think. Jake, Grasshopper, sticking with comedy. It feels quite mean in places. Like there's things that like, is that a joke or is that just horrible?
Yeah.
What place does that come from within you?
I guess the idea was when we came up with the idea originally, we kind of wanted to make it realistic in a sense, but also not to the point where if an audience doesn't laugh, it means the joke doesn't land. I kind of wanted to write it in a way where if you did laugh, that's great, but if you didn't, you know, yeah, I guess it's kind of mean in the sense of we kind of wanted the older characters. Obviously, I'm a writer from a younger generation, and we kind of wanted to write the older actors to be kind of confident in what they're saying, but not quite getting what's going on, and that was kind of my approach to that.
I think a similar question for you, Harry, as well on Argy Bargy, because that kind of British football violence culture doesn't really exist except for in media anymore. Where does that come from for you? Is that something that you've experienced, or something that you want to talk about through things that you've seen or watched, or like, why is that funny to you? I guess is the.
Well, ironically, all of the insults in Argy Bargy were actually ones that have been directed towards me or Earlham, the club that we shot at. So you heard the chants at the start of the film. They were actually recordings from rival fans when I was filming the game. So they were chanting, "Shove your camera up here." So really it was inspired by a little scuffle that happened at the football club that we shot at. All of the characters are fictionalised, but it's mainly just because if they're directed towards you, you see it as quite funny when you've experienced it. Because I've grown up longer in Earlham FC and that, around that culture, you realise there's less threat in it these days than there was in the 90s and 80s. So I suppose the humour of it comes from the fact that it's not there anymore. It's more of a nostalgic, oh, remember when people used to fight over a sticker on the door? So that's where the humour comes from in Argy Bargy.
Cool. Thank you. Going to the far end, Beach Portal also has comedic elements, but it's totally very different from the comedies or the other comedies that are on the bill, I guess. One of the things that I notice about it is that there's a soundtrack under all of it. Is that just because you were filming at a beach and it's a cover of the sounds, or is that a choice from elsewhere?
So it was a challenge filming at a beach. I'm going to throw this one to Kane, who did the final sound edit with...
I don't know, we just gave it to our mate and said they'd do some sound with it, and then he came back with that, really. It sounded alright to me. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, stick with that.
I mean, we gave him some parameters, like, we gave him like notes per scene as it went on, like this bit, maybe there's like a little bit of a dance or wedding sort of like motif with romantic music, but this, like the first scene and then bits, so we gave him notes to go along to help sort of like, guide what really once the final edit was locked.
He's got like a whole basement of synthesizers as well, so that's why it's
Show off a bit.
well, yeah, exactly. May as well use them, right?
What were the other challenges shooting at a beach?
Not having a permit, being there. Essentially being far enough away from all of the transport and everything else that you need to, whenever you realise you've forgotten something, you need something and you're on location, in order to stay out of the way, we had to properly stay out of the way. So whenever something, on the occasions when you realised we needed something, that was it. You had to wait for like 45 minutes or someone went and got it. People in the background, but not the right people in the right background. And if anyone's ever been to Ainsdale Beach, dodging places where previous people have been caught short in the dunes. So, some really nice challenges. Yeah, I think it's lovely shooting on it. It was lovely shooting in the dunes. Yeah, it was actually really straightforward. No one bothered us. People were, yeah, I don't think we bothered other people too much. And it also provides a pretty backdrop. So,
Luke, I love that of all the 8 filmmakers we've had tonight, you're the only one to bring a drink up.
Cheers.
So, how does Survivor horror film, or horror movie, presents itself as a very simple, cheap, 2 people in a flat, we're filming where we've got access to type film, but it's actually quite technically complicated and complex. So the sound, specifically in the car park, going back to sound, is so clean. Like, how difficult was it to make that kind of film that I assume you made with no money in a flat one of your had access to actually have that high level of technical specification on it?
Not very.
Okay.
No, it was easy. I think we made the film in 3 hours. I was hungover. I had about 3 hours sleep. I think it was shot. Yeah, I think the boys arrived about 11. We started shooting at 12. It was done by 3. I was in Blackpool by 5, watching the fireworks for about 6. I didn't want to shoot that day. I was too tired, to be honest. I was hanging out my arse, sliding on a Morrison's cheese and bacon wrap thing. Yeah, no, it was easy film to make. Yeah, it was very, very simple. I think we only it was just myself and Jamie on it. I think Jamie recorded audio separately. We had 2 labs going with both actors, and yeah, it was very, very simple. I shot my own flat a million times, so I know how to shoot my flat by now. So yeah, it was just a case of, oh cool, we're free for a couple of hours, let's just go make something. Let's just have a bit of fun and go make something.
Could you perhaps expand on the benefits of a lab over a boom?
It depends. The mix is actually a mix of all 3 put together. So it just gives it just a nice little edge. Yeah, because sometimes one lab's a little bit too muffly, but the boom is picking up quite like a little bit more clear. So it depends on what you're recording it. To be honest, I think I edited it in a couple of hours. To be honest, I didn't give it much thought. It was just like cool, done, slapped together, gone. It was just the boys having a bit of a laugh. To be honest, But yeah, I think we used pretty much the lads on. Yeah, I think we just use the Road Wireless Goes 2 Pros or whatever they are. I think we use them pretty much on everything now. So I think they help me when Sandy's come aboard as well. They just so it just speeds up the process as well of shooting, because I edit everything as well. So it's all there for me straight away. So it's just in out, gone. So it saves on sync time as well. And yeah, it just speeds up the process massively.
Thank you. The sound on Run, I thought, was also quite interesting. So there's a shot about 2/3 of the way through where the main character is stood smoking beside the trailer, and there's no sound there. There's like a little tiny bit of ambient thing. It's like, oh, it's like a throwback to like a silent film, was my initial thought. But then when the death occurs, you're like, oh no, you're just building the expectations of the audience for silence and that kind of other mood. Again, was that something that was conscious, or was that just a happy coincidence that I've read far too much into?
No, it's all deliberate. Absolutely. I think kind of sound is really important. Obviously, kind of visuals are important, but sound is always something that you can sometimes forget. But I think kind of it is the thing that enhances your film and makes it better. Obviously, it needs to look good, but I think kind of sound can give you more and make elevate something. But yeah, it was kind of conscious that it would be silent in that moment, and then kind of it builds at the end. Sorry, what was the question? Where was the question going?
So the question was, at the 2/3 point when the main character is on his own, you see a very slapstick moment where it's all physical. And the question was, is that a slapstick moment, or is that preparing the audience?
No, it's preparing for later. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I should have just said that.
Yeah. An elevator answer. Harry, I always ask people questions when they film with that kind of retro aesthetic. Is that done in post, or did you just buy an older camera and be like, this looks fun to use?
Well, it was shot on on a camera that my parents bought for my first birthday with. But we read into like, why should we use this camera a lot, and I managed to get this anamorphic lens that a Spanish guy had made in his garage, and the opening on it is so small that you could only fit it on a mini DV camera. So combining the two, I knew how to shoot with my little mini DV camera for ages, and then we put that on, and it comes to almost CinemaScope, and it's interlaced 50 frames a second. So we thought, with the style of like the Premier League, the aesthetic that was established with that in the 2000s, we'd combine, oh, here's our little piece of culture, and you have the what the football club started calling the old school look. It made it look a little bit less savoury to be part of when you're looking at two guys just argue. But yeah, so it was mainly to utilise what we had whilst combining the aesthetic of Manchester with 28 Days Later and 24-hour party people, the Manchester mini DV filmmakers, as well as our Salford setting, really.
Very cool. Jake, you've also got one specific interesting camera scene, the stick cam.
Yes.
Was that something that you wrote, or were you just playing around at the time of the golf clubs and like, this looked fun?
No, I originally had the vision for it. Unfortunately, we did lose a club in the process. It was essentially just a GoPro clamped as hard as possibly we could do onto a driver, and obviously on the third take it snapped in half. So that was quite unfortunate. But yeah, it was a vision from the start. We just kind of wanted a funny cutaway where it was a bit unusual.
Oh, thank you. Does anyone in the audience have questions, possibly of less technical nature, but I feel I've gone off the tangent here? At the back.
I wanted to ask Matt, I love Run. I thought
Thanks.
the script and the acting was fabulous. I didn't know the actors were up here, so I'd like to. I was going to ask if they knew each other because there was a great chemistry on screen, but you answered that, I think. But is this the first project you've worked on together?
No, I've me and Dom have worked together since it's a good while. 25 years. We've been working on various things, and then we've been making kind of little short films, and comedy sketches and whatnot for years, and then I've known Becky since about maybe 15 years or so, and Dom and Becky know each other, so we've kind of worked together on various things over the years, and I like the fact that it feels like they work well together. I hope that it wasn't too familiar from the off. That was the thing that I was kind of I was worried about, but I think they do have good chemistry.
Yeah, and that's right. It was just very natural.
Thanks.
I mean, I was going to just one point there about working with people that you worked before. That collective of people. That's what we tend to do. We've been doing it for 25 years, so you understand that the people that you work with, you can be comfortable.
Yes.
So that's the sense that you work together.
Yeah. It feels. I don't know. We've kind of got these ideas for another couple, and we're going to probably shoot them next. I've just had a baby, so I've shot anything for ages. So that was the last thing we shot. But we've got a couple of projects for next year. But it feels like when you have people that you like working with and like work, you can it feels comfortable on a set to have those relationships within a film, even if it's uncomfortable. But yeah, it's good. It's lovely to work with people but it's all obviously we all want to work with good people.
Thank you for the question. Any more? Front here.
I have one for Grasshopper Park. The location is amazing. Obviously, it's a golf course. How easy was it to get access to it and shoot in it?
Yeah, so in the film, I kind of played myself as the junior captain. I was the junior captain a couple of years ago at Chesterfield Golf Club. That's where I grew up, so easy to get. And I knew as soon as, when I was growing up, I always knew I wanted to make a film there, so... Excuse me, I've got quite ill at the moment. But yeah, it was, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's a really great landscape, and I feel like we captured that quite well.
Thank you.
So we'll start down the far end. What is next for the film and for yourself?
For the film, might show it elsewhere, but for us, actually we're all doing other random creative things. Rich has another film he's making. Kane has made a recent music video for a doom metal band. Our actor is currently in a proper big movie, and I write fiction. Bits and bobs. But actually, no, sorry, there's a sensible answer to this, and what's coming next for us is Murder Moles. Murder Moles. Can't say anything.
Yeah, we're just putting the film out on YouTube, so people can just have a look and enjoy it for Halloween. Obviously, it's a little sketch we're doing. Myself, got another film that's going out on tour currently called I Made the Time Machine. We're travelling all around the UK and Ireland for the next 5 or 6 weeks without different festivals, and then coming straight back in December, going to Saudi Arabia for the Tyson Fury Usyk rematch.
For the film, we just sent it off to a few festivals. We'll hear back early next year for them. And for myself, I'm much like Alfie. I'm in University of Salford in my final year, so we've got a big project coming up, which we'll probably shoot February, March time.
For Argy Bargy, it's in a couple of film festivals, but it's the first of 3 football hooligan short films. So we're in pre-production on the second one, Billy Brickfield. I'm writing the third one, and then after that we're going to make a football hooligan feature length. Hopefully we'll have all the football hooligan out of our system by then. But so yeah, we've got a couple of projects in the pipeline.
We've got a short that we've kind of prepped very tightly, and we were going to shoot it in earlier this year, but it kind of fell through. So we're looking for a location next year, and then we're in the process of starting another one to shoot next year as well. So using the same people who might get bored of us, but yeah, we'll be doing that next year.
Good luck in all your endeavours,
Thank
folks. One more time, please.